All right, my E4 Mafia, before we can actually start this show off, I've got to get something off my chest. We don't really like having to talk about it, but it's just like it just keeps coming up in another way, But just recently, Nike came out with a 30th anniversary campaign for the Just Do It ad, and Colin Kaepernick is on it. Now, let me make this perfectly clear. I have not, nor will I ever like Nike. Only once, Phil, have I ever bought a Nike product, and that was to impress a girl who is now my wife, and those were Air Force Ones. Now, I understand Nike owns a lot of other companies. They own Cole Haan, never bought any other stuff. Umbro, never was huge into soccer to actually own Umbro. Converse, never liked them really because their shoes always made me look like a fucking clown. Hurley, was never really into Hurley, was never a huge skateboarder, but I'm more of a Vans person anyway. And then, of course, you have the brand extensions, Jordan, Nike Plus, Nike Golf, all of that. So I can tell y'all, ladies and gentlemen, that without a doubt, I have never been a Nike sympathizer and never will. When it came out about sweatshops, I was on that side that laughed at Nike. To me, it is a punchline. Anytime someone says Nike, I automatically think sweatshops. So, ladies and gentlemen, do not think in any way that I have ever been a fan of Nike or will ever be a fan of Nike. Now, with that said, my issue with this whole situation, and I truly believe many other veterans feel the same way. Now, I've gone on ad nauseum about the whole anthem issue. And if this is your first time listening, I'm just going to sum it up for you. Colin Kaepernick knelt. He came out, he sat. Then he talked to some veterans. He knelt, came out in the post game and expressed he was doing it for social injustice. Great, fantastic. Now everybody else in the league is sitting. Trump gets involved. Everybody sits now to go against Trump. And it's just been this nonstop thing. Okay? I don't have an issue with that. That's not even what I have an issue with anymore. I have a problem with the new tagline of this ad campaign. And it is believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything. That's where I have the problem. As a veteran, I have an extreme issue with that. Not even as just a veteran, but a football fan that reads stats, reads contracts. Sacrifice everything. What did Colin Kaepernick sacrifice? He was an above average mobile QB. His defense really helped him. But yeah, he was a very good mobile. But his accuracy wasn't great. He was above average. I will give him that. He was an above average mobile QB. Well, he turned down his extension because he wanted to take a bet on himself. Then later realized he was going to be benched because the team knew what he was trying to do. So he used that to his advantage. He's like, well, I'm on my way out. I'm just sitting on the bench anyway. So let me use this time, which again, that's fine. You want to use that? That's great. He would have been hired back if he was willing to drop his asking price and the fact that he wanted to be a starting quarterback. He wasn't going to be a starting quarterback. Plus, he wanted too much money. Okay, so that's on him. And then he realizes nobody's going to sign him. Yes, because it comes with other issues, but they don't want to pay that money for the issues. So then he sues for collusion. He is taking advantage of this situation. And you know what? He has been the rage ever since it happened. Ever since it happened, he's been the rage. The anthem conversation has always been, we started with Kaepernick. And we've been talking about it since the beginning of last fucking year. So don't tell me that he's sacrificing stuff. He's still got his fame. He's still got his money. He has more money than most of us will ever see. Still. And now he's the face of Nike's new campaign? Again. What the fuck did he sacrifice? All it is Nike using his face to make money off of the division of this country. All right, so I've explained the sacrifice that he has not made. Now let me explain to y'all some sacrifices that were made. You look at former running back Glenn Coffey. Glenn Coffey, running back, San Francisco 49ers. He ends up giving up his contract to join the U.S. military and go on to the special forces. That's a sacrifice. You look at Pat Tillman. Left the Cardinals. Go serve. And was killed. Those were real sacrifices given up for something that you believe in. Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything. They did that. Tillman gave his utmost sacrifice. He never came. He never came back. Then you talk about not even death. What about the other sacrifices, the amputees that come back? The mental illness that comes back? Never being the same mentally, always looking over your shoulder, never able to enjoy a concert, a date, anything. Going to dinner, you become a hassle because your back can't be against the door. What kind of sacrifice is that for my life? Then you look at the suicide rate of veterans. What kind of sacrifice is that? You gave so much for this country that it destroyed you. That, ladies and gentlemen, that is a sacrifice. So, it's the 30th anniversary. Then you should have used someone like Glenn Coffey. You should have used somebody like Tillman. Kaepernick didn't sacrifice anything. Veterans are the ones that have sacrificed everything. Police officers sacrifice everything. Firefighters sacrifice everything. There's other examples. I don't have to just use the veteran tagline. Giving up what he didn't really give up, if you think about it, should not be an ad. It should not be an ad. Believe in something. And I believe the choice of the tagline, not even Kaepernick, but the choice of the tagline is the problem. I don't care who it is. They could have changed the tagline to fit him better that didn't look like this. E4 Media proudly brings to you E4 Sports. Sports through the eyes of veterans. All right, E4 Mafia, this is E4 Sports. That was weighing on me quite a bit, and I just had to express it before we started the show, Phil.
Oh, I understand you. It's yeah, there were a couple things I wanted. Yeah, when you were, I didn't want to interrupt you. I kind of did, but I didn't. But yeah, you know, Kaepernick can say what he wants. It represented when he took a knee at the beginning, but in the same light, you're sitting there, you're ruffling the feathers of the people you're pissed off against by wearing socks that depict them as pigs. So, yeah, you gotta come to a middle ground on something like that. Yeah, you may want to protest social injustice and all that, but you still got to meet at a middle ground. You can't incite the people that you have an issue with. I mean, that just is not good. That's not good negotiations. And as far as Kaepernick goes, as far as a football player, I think he thinks he's a hell of a lot better than he actually is. And how many years have gone by now? It's 2 years that he hasn't played football. Basically you're nothing more than a figurehead at this point of what we're not exactly sure of. But I'm really, it's just one of these things. I'm tired of talking about it because it's like beating a dead horse. As you said, there are much better people that Nike could have gone with that wouldn't have been so divisive. And I'm sure that's part of what Nike wanted. They wanted people to talk about this. So you got people talking about it and it's a debate thing. You're basically pitting people against each other. So, I mean, you're basically saying, okay, look, we have this product, but we're going to throw this out here and you guys got to deal with it. And whether you like them or hate them. And apparently there's not a whole lot of people that like them because if you looked at what Nike stock did, it tanked like a freaking lead weight and
lost 3%.
Lost more than that. It was 4. It was 4.5%. And I mean, you got people posting up on YouTube and Facebook, just, hey, Nike, screw you, and into the fire pit it goes. So, I mean, in a sense, that's kind of, I think, that's maybe taking it a little bit to an extreme. Donate it to a homeless guy.
And that's kind of what's weird about the whole situation. I laugh at that part. But these people cutting up their shirts, cutting up their shoes, burning them. I mean, one guy even set his shoes on fire while he was wearing them to protest. Ladies and gentlemen, you bought that stuff. Do you really think Nike cares that you're burning stuff you already paid for?
Yeah, as Forrest Gump said, stupid as stupid does. As far as lighting your shoes on fire while you're wearing them, not the swiftest person there.
But the other fact is the ignorance of people that are using this for like their own agenda. Like I was seeing.
Oh, of course.
I was seeing one person. They were talking about, that Nike's like not an American company. And then they started talking about how Google was.
Well, considering how much work
marketed.
Nike sends overseas to Vietnam and China.
Yeah. But it's like, no, they're based in Oregon and Google's based in California. And the last time I checked, those are both American countries. Yeah, they do a hell of a lot of business globally. I just don't like the ignorance that's coming out. But anyway.
You can't teach stupid.
Yes, you can't fix stupid and you can't teach common sense.
And of course, stupid as stupid does, as Forrest Gump would say.
So, all right, with all that off my chest, let's get on with this show. Phil,
Sir.
We are a little more than 24 hours away from kicking off the 2018 regular football season.
Huh?
Oh, my God. Can't wait, ladies and gentlemen.
So, Falcons at Philadelphia to start off the season. What do you think of the game? You got Nick Foles starting in place of Carson Wentz, who's not ready yet.
I'm interested in seeing what that defense looks like.
The defense has a lot of potential, but don't forget Bennett's out.
Hold on.
Bennett's injured right now too.
The defense was good last year, but they made improvements this year.
Absolutely, they did.
So I'm very interested. And the fact that that Nick Foles is already been named starter because most likely Wentz is not ready to go.
Oh, they already named him.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying most likely because Wentz isn't ready to go. But it's a good thing that they named him because then he's not worrying about that. Then he gets the reps he needs. He's comfortably sitting to start off tomorrow night, primetime game. He's trying to show people it wasn't a fluke. He's got some pressure on him.
Yeah, but in the same light, if I'm Doug Peterson, I may wait till tomorrow to name a starting quarterback. I mean, you let Foles know, but you don't name it in the media just so the Falcons gotta guess. They don't know whether Wentz is good or not. I mean, actually, they probably do, but
I'm glad you mentioned that. Is Doug Peterson just earlier this week at a press conference, and he was asked about the quarterback situation, and he refused to answer it. And one of his big reasons he refused to answer it was for a quote, "We had a game coming up," unquote. Why, basically saying, why am I going to release that? What benefit it is me for them to be able to game plan on who I set a quarterback for? Which, when you think about it, to jump into college football right now, is kind of what Nick Saban's thinking. I got two great quarterbacks. Why am I going to name one of them as a starter? No, I'm going to use them the way I'm going to use them. But now back to the pros. So it's going to be an interesting. It's going to be a fun game to watch. I'm so glad football's back. You've got the defending champions versus what could have been the previous champions, but choked like horribly. So I say Philadelphia 28, Atlanta 20. I'll give him 26.
28-26?
Yeah.
Okay. Couple things. Philadelphia's wide receivers, you're going to be missing Alshon Jeffrey. He's not quite 100% from the shoulder injury, which you got to start kind of thinking about a little bit. But the advantage that Philadelphia does have, let's see if Jay Ajayi's ready to tote that rock, because Atlanta's run defense, at least going by last year, not quite the stout run defense you would like to have. So I'm going to go out and I'm going to say, let's go ahead and say Philadelphia is going to win this game. I think it's going to be a little tighter than what you're saying. I don't know if there's going to be that many points scored. Also be interesting to see if, on Atlanta's side of the ball, I think it'll be interesting to see how they incorporate, you got Julio Jones, you got Mohamed Sanu, plus you got the rookie, Calvin Ridley, who, they're not sure right now. From what I've been reading about Ridley, I mean, he's going to develop into a great wide receiver. But right now, being a rookie, he's still a little bit, let's say he's medium rare, if you will. But he's still got some learning to do. He's not quite ready to take over the number 2 wide receiver spot. I mean, you're not going to take the number 1 from Julio Jones right now.
No. That man is still producing.
You get Ridley once he gets his head together, and you get him with Julio Jones, and you're talking about a dangerous combination of wide receivers. So in that light, you may see some points scored here, but I don't think it's going to be as close a game as you think it is. I'm still going to go ahead and take Philadelphia. Let's say 24-17.
Okay. All right, the next game we're going to look at is we're going to look at a very intriguing matchup between a very good elite cornerback versus an elite wide receiver, and both like to talk a lot of shit. Especially the latter, going off on like 15 different quarterbacks this offseason. So he's going to have a very, very interesting year with how many quarterbacks he's gone out
This is another Des Bryant and Norman. Little.
Well, no, this is worse because he's just throwing clout at all the quarterbacks. It's not even the wide receivers. When you're throwing clout at the quarterback,
OBJ, is not exactly known for keeping his mouth shut.
Oh, no. That's what I'm saying. That they're like some of the loudest mouths out there. And I'm talking about Odell Beckham Jr. versus Jalen Ramsey. Yes. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, you have the New York Giants versus the Jacksonville Jaguars in week 1. This is a very interesting, very fun matchup to watch because of not only the Odell Beckham versus Ramsey situation, but you have the thought, what Eli are we going to get? The offensive line is a tad better. They were able to add a offensive guard to protect them. They got Saquon Barkley, so now you open more of a run game.
Well, you got pressure off the wide receivers and tight end, but what I'm looking at is I want to see Saquon against the front seven of Jacksonville.
Yes.
That's going to be very interesting because you got a fairly stout defensive front seven for Jacksonville. You got very active linebackers, and let's see what he can do against. This is going to be a really interesting test for him to open up against.
Yes, it is. Now, one of the X factors is going to be Cody Latimer, because Jalen Ramsey is going to be matched up with Odell Beckham. You're going to have Boye. You're going to have Boye stacked up on Sterling Shepard. So let's see how Cody Latimer can do with Shepard and Odell Beckham. For one, they're smaller. Latimer is 6'2". So there's multiple matchups. I mean, we all know what the Jaguars are going to do. They're going to pound the ball. I mean, that's really the key that you do if you're Jacksonville. You pound the ball. Just give it to Leonard Fournette and just let him pound the ball.
You got no faith in Bortles? I mean, he looked pretty good at the end of last season.
I've never had faith in him. He stepped up. I don't think he's going to be worth what they paid for him in faith. We'll see. I know. No, I just don't have faith in Bortles. I don't. I never have, and it's not just because I'm a Texans fan. Bortles to me lacks the true intelligence of a quarterback. He makes a lot of stupid mistakes. And his receivers help cover for him. I mean, you look, Alan Hearns covered for him times.
Okay,
Allen
how many different head coaches has he gone through? How many offenses?
That is true.
I mean, I'm not trying to give him a pass or anything, but
I don't know. They have faith. He had a good offseason. He had a good training camp. We'll see. Next game we're going to look at is a great game, huge game. And it's because of the history of the rivalry. This game we're talking about is Bears versus Packers.
A classic match.
It's a classic match. I love how it's the first game of the season. I like that. Now, this rivalry dates all the way back to 1921. November 27th, 1921, Bears 20, Packers 0. Bears shut down the Packers in 1921. They've had a total of 196 meetings. Now, the interesting thing, Phil, without looking it up, who do you think is winning the rivalry?
Right now?
Yes.
Between the Bears and the Packers?
Yes.
Bears?
No.
Really?
No. So it is Green Bay.
By how much?
Leads by 2. Well, no. Sorry. They lead 96. So, yeah, they're winning by 2 games.
And they've scored 32 more points. The Packers.
Yes. Now, one of the best games they've played in the rivalry was back in November of 2014. Packers won the game 55-14. Aaron Rodgers tied an NFL record with 6 touchdown passes in just the first half. Wasn't total game, ladies and gentlemen. He threw 6 touchdown passes in the first fucking half. I mean, it doesn't really get more lopsided than that. You had 6 touchdowns in the first half compared to 2 total touchdowns.
Got to give the Bears their credit, though, in that game.
I'll give Chris Williams credit in that game because he returned a kickoff that tied an NFL record with 10 kickoff returns in a game, one of which went for a 101-yard touchdown. So really, it had nothing to do with the Bears' offense whatsoever.
Well, somebody blocked for him.
Well, yeah, very good point. Now, what makes it interesting this year is the fact that it's Trubisky's second year.
Right.
I think people are underrating him a little bit. I think he's going to be better than he was last year. So you got that. You've now got Allen Robinson. Now, Allen Robinson has had some health issues, so that's going to be interesting. But I think if he could become the number 1 target, I think they got a good chance, and it could be a good duo. Then you look on a defense. The defense is actually pretty. It has expectations, especially now the fact that you add Khalil Mack, who just got paid $90 million guaranteed.
Yeah.
$60 million signing bonus.
Now, yeah, you were talking about Bears and Packers, and far as, the 55-14, very impressive score. But I am going to have to refer back to some old school football here. 1962. This is a little more humiliating to me than 55-14. But when you sit there and you blank a team 49-0.
Very true.
You're talking Vince Lombardi
Very
basically going up against Papa Bear, George Halas at in City Stadium, and basically Vince Lombardi just basically handed George Halas his freaking lunch and then some.
Yeah.
And that's, they wound up a couple weeks later, they wound up doing the same thing to the Philadelphia Eagles, which back in 62, the Eagles were they weren't a horrible team back then. But basically that loss right there for Papa Bear Halas basically had Halas spending the offseason trying to game plan the for the next season, and lo and behold, the Bears wound up handing the Packers their only 2 losses that season and wound up winning their 8th NFL championship.
Yeah. Big. I mean, hey, it's a fun rivalry to watch. It really is. I mean, you got Aaron Rodgers and Stephen A. Smith. I will steal that line from you. Aaron Rodgers, he is a bad man.
Yes, he is. And watch out if you got Devontae Adams on your fantasy team. you better expect that boy to be picking up a heck of a lot of receptions this year because he's going to be taking over for Jordy Nelson.
Yes, he is, and I actually think Jimmy Graham's going to work in that system.
Yeah,
I think
hopefully he does. I mean, Green Bay will game plan.
He was never used when he was in Seattle, but I just never saw Pete Carroll using a tight end really in the first place. He's more of a
he wants a blocking tight end.
Yeah, and Jimmy Graham is not a blocking tight end, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, he can block. He's actually improved greatly upon blocking, but he is not
known for that at all.
And let's not forget, Chicago picked up a new toy for Trubisky in Trey Burton, the tight end who threw the touchdown pass to Nick Foles in the Super Bowl. And Trey Burton's going to be a off-utilized weapon for Trubisky. It's kind of a safety blanket.
Absolutely. I mean, this year there are quite a few sleeper tight ends you can get, ladies and gentlemen, and he is one of them. And I think he is going to be utilized. Yeah, they've got some good weapons. You got Jordan Howard. You got Tarek Cohen. You've got Kevin White, Daniel Brown, Josh Bellamy. I mean, they have some weapons. A lot of these guys are. I mean, you've got veterans on the team.
You got some good rookies here too. Yeah, I mean, you also got Benny Cunningham, who's a very, got great lineage as far as NFL lineage. His father was also was Benny Cunningham Sr. Played with Cincinnati. But yeah, they got a decent number of weapons to use, and you also got Zach Miller there. Maybe not the greatest tight end, but still capable. And as far as defense goes, the addition of Khalil Mack on that defense to go with Roquan Smith. You got a young guy.
My shows are all about
and Khalil Mack, who's he's starting to learn he's going to learn the Chicago defense, and he's a 4-year player, but he can still come in there and help guide and tutor Roquan Smith, who's pretty badass linebacker to start with.
That foot situation that he's been dealing with,
you
think is minor. That's what they've said.
Like I said, defense-wise, you've got Mack.
Debate his velocity.
Mack's coming in there. That automatically sets your defense up, which to me,
probably 40 to 45 times.
Trubisky has more chances on the offense. Because Mack could disrupt that defense, and that defense can come away with some turnovers.
Well, look how many sacks and tackles for loss Mack has had over the last 4 years.
So Trubisky, I feel he has those.
Once again on Mack, only player ever in NFL history to be named All-Pro in the same season to two different positions.
Hosting Cincinnati on CBS, cannot wait. Now, a really confusing backfield is
but he's no J.J. Watt. All right.
No, he's an outside linebacker.
So we talked about Trey Burton, Allen Robinson, Taylor Gabriel, Anthony Miller. But we're also new coach.
Matt Nagy?
Got Matt Nagy. So now a culture's changing in Chicago too. And I think they're looking like they could come back as those Bears that we miss. I liked when the Bears were this rough team, and it was who was the McMahon, right? No, who was the one that always wore the white headband?
Yeah, Jim McMahon.
Jim McMahon, they were beasts, That's what people
look
miss
at the
about
50s
the Bears.
when they were the monsters of the Midway. You had 50s and 60s, you got Dick Butkus coming out there. Before you had Dick Butkus, you had Bill George. Then after Butkus, you wound up having, you had the Baylor Bear, Mike Singletary. And then, of course, we had our Hall of Famer this past year out of Arizona, Brian Urlacher. But if you look at the lineage where Nagy came from, I mean, you're talking about an Andy Reid disciple here. He was with him with Philadelphia, then moved to Kansas City with him, and he's always been a offensive coach. So you're going to have to think that Chicago's going to open that offense up, and you're going to see something along the lines of what Kansas City's looked like the last couple of years. I mean, he's been the quarterback. He was the quarterback's coach at Kansas City, and then the offensive coordinator. So he should be able to have be able to create a pretty decent offense with what he's got there.
Now, we've talked a lot about the Chicago team, but we also got to look at the Packers team. Their secondary, talking about defense, got improvements. They drafted cornerback Jrei Alexander. They brought in veteran Tremont Williams and their 2017 second-round pick in Kevin King. Now, their defense looks good, but of course, when you think of Packers, you think of offense. And they have some weapons, and we talked about their wide receivers. Well, we also got to remember, they have a backup quarterback there now, too.
And he would be?
Mr. DeShone Kizer. And with DeShone Kizer, I will say, it wasn't even Cleveland that screwed him up. He's just not good, guys.
I'd say it was Notre Dame, but...
Yeah, he just ain't no good.
In the Green Bay defensive backfield, don't forget you also got Clinton Dix. Or sorry, Clinton Dix. My bad. Got it.
Clinton Dix.
But Jrei Alexander is going to be. He has the potential to be a beast of a defensive back. I mean, you're talking about a 5'10" DB here, so maybe a little bit undersized for some of the taller receivers, but dude's got a hell of a vertical.
With all that said, I say Packers on top. $31-26.
31-26, huh? And this is in Green Bay. This is at Lambeau.
I forgot it was Ed Lambeau.
I'm thinking, opening game. I think Rodgers is gonna.
I think it's gonna be kind of a shootout.
I think Rodgers is gonna want to show what he's, he's still got it and everything.
I mean, he is getting $103 million guaranteed.
Don't get me wrong. Well, I think he's still got, he's got some new toys to play with, so it'll be entertaining.
Yeah, I'm going to say 31-26.
Chicago or Green Bay?
Green Bay.
Green Bay. Yeah, I don't think Chicago. I don't think Chicago is quite there yet, but they should give them a heck of a good game. I don't know that they put up that many points though. Those teams are not the types of teams that usually put up large numbers. Green Bay 21, Chicago. Yeah, this is gonna be your typical NFC North. Chicago maybe 17.
Okay.
But it'll be close. Be a good game.
Next game we are going to preview is the Cleveland Browns at Pittsburgh Steelers.
Hugh Jackson, Mike Tomlin.
Now, Mike Tomlin has a ring. Hugh Jackson has one victory.
Well, Tomlin has more than one ring, which is more than the victories Hugh Jackson has for the Cleveland Browns.
There you go. Now, this is an afternoon game, so it's not a primetime matchup, but this is a division rivalry. Matchup.
Oh yeah, absolutely, big rivalry.
Now, in the past 5 matchups, Pittsburgh has swept. Imagine that. Last year, 28-24. Last year, 21-18. Then you have 27-24, 24-9, 28-12. So Cleveland's pretty inconsistent. Now, Pittsburgh Steelers have the lead in the all-time series with 74 victories to 58. So we got Ben Roethlisberger against Tyrod Taylor.
It's not Tyrod anymore.
Nope.
It's Tyrod.
Tyrod.
Let's fancy it up. Yeah.
one player that I am so excited to see. There's one player I am off my seats to see play.
Jarvis Landry?
Why'd you ruin that, man? Why'd you ruin it? Who do you think it is?
Deshaun Kaiser.
No, Kaiser's gone. We just talked about him.
Well, you still want to see the Packer game.
Oh, my God.
Let me guess. Could it be BM?
It is Mr. Josh Gordon.
Oh, so it's not Baker Mayfield.
No. I've been looking forward to seeing Josh Gordon.
Sure it's not Bradley Chubb?
No.
What about Ward?
So, Josh Gordon is finally coming back to play some ball. He does have a hamstring injury right now, but he is listed as probable. Now, the good thing about the matchup, you mentioned his name, though, Jarvis Landry.
I do have a question for you, though. Is Josh Gordon the reason that Dez Bryant did not want to sign in Cleveland? I mean, is there room for those two egos? Not to mention with Baker Mayfield.
I think Dez Bryant thinks a little bit too much of himself at this stage in his life. He missed out on $20 million with the Ravens and the Cleveland.
He said they didn't offer enough money.
Exactly.
So it's a money thing. And you got to wonder, even if he does sign with somebody at this point, what kind of shape is he in? Is he in football shape? How long will it take him to learn the playbook? Or are they just going to make some plays for him and say, you go do this?
He'll be on a team. He'll be on a team. Within the first 3 weeks, he'll be on a team. There's going to be a wide receiver going. He'll be on a team. But he's going to have to suck up the pride and realize he's going to get paid.
What about San Diego?
I like him. I like to look for him in San Diego.
Marquise Lee, I'm
a huge fan of Phillip Rivers. I think he's a good quarterback. He just deals with injury after injury.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you said San Diego.
Right. Well, I was going to say Marquise Lee went down for the Jaguars. Would there be room for him there? Do they have the cap room to sign him? But nonetheless, going back to San Diego, yes. I think he would fit very well with San Diego.
You mean Los Angeles?
So, yes.
Exactly. That's why I got confused there. I was thinking because I know San Diego, but no, they're the LA Chargers.
Major brain fart there,
yes,
folks.
sorry, guys. We carried that on for about 2 minutes because it sounded right, but it didn't sound right.
It still feels right, though.
It does. It really does.
So, anyway, the LA Chargers, Phillip Rivers deserves to have a couple of receivers make it through the year that are worth a crap. I mean, not these fly-by-night journeyman wide receivers that he seems to get stuck with all the time.
Not just wide receivers, but tight ends. But we'll go into Phillip Rivers on the next.
They did just re-sign Antonio Gates yesterday, so that was interesting. But nonetheless, I could see Dez Bryant in LA playing with. I mean, LA. Hey, you got the big city. Maybe that can support his ego. Maybe he doesn't necessarily get into trouble, but there's certainly enough to keep him occupied.
So, back to
Jacksonville?
No, back to Cleveland, Pittsburgh game. So, you do have Tyrod Taylor starting with pressure coming from the back. If he sucks enough, are they going to pull him, put Mayfield in? What are their plans? If he gets injured, is he done? Is he going to be Tom Brady'd? We'll have to see on that.
I could definitely see if he really stinks the place up, which I think Tyrod is going to be able to.
I don't think he's a horrible quarterback.
I don't think he's a horrible quarterback. He's just not a great quarterback. He's definitely, he's obviously good enough to get the starting job and have him feel comfortable with it.
I think he's a place setter, and he knows that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if he thinks he's going to be holding that job for any great length of time, it's not happening.
But it helps when a quarterback knows that They're there for a place setter. They know that, hey, in a year, 2 years, I'm done.
Well, you also got to take into consideration he's not going to just sit there and lay down for it either. He's going to sit there and go, "Hey, this is why you need to keep me as the starter, and I'm going to play that much harder. You gave me a chance. I'm going to try and at least get you more wins than you've had over the last 2 seasons."
He's also got 7 years. He's a veteran. He's a good mentor for Mayfield, and I think they're making the smart decision. And there are professionals out there on certain broadcast shows that say Mayfield should start, but I think they're doing the right thing. Let him sit, let him learn. Basically, Cleveland, do the opposite of everything you usually do.
What's worse for Mayfield? Hugh Jackson or Tyrod Taylor?
Oh, Hugh Jackson.
Without a doubt.
Oh, without a doubt. I would bet if I had a house, I'd bet my house on it. Hugh Jackson.
Just pray that Hugh Jackson doesn't destroy Baker Mayfield. I mean, I think despite
I don't
Hugh
understand
Jackson,
how he's still the coach.
I think despite Hugh Jackson, I think Baker Mayfield winds up becoming a really good quarterback.
I think
he's the next coming of Drew Brees. I'll put it that way.
Here's what I hope. I hope that the organization is smart and that they would back Mayfield 20 times over more than they would Hugh Jackson. They have already given this man a chance that I would have never given him. You went 1 and 36.
31.
1 and 31, sorry. 1 and 31. And you are still the head coach. They've gone through quarterbacks faster than they've gone through this coach.
There are remoras that cannot suck onto a fish with the same suction that Hugh Jackson has on the Cleveland Browns owner's ass.
Wrong, sir. And
Jason Garrett?
No, Marvin Jones.
Yeah.
Marvin Jones, yeah.
Well, I mean, come on, Jason Garrett, Jerry Jones.
Well, I understand that. I
mean, there are instances of remora type head coaches that just latch onto an owner's ass and don't let go.
You've got Jones in Cincinnati, who's never won a playoff game. Never won a playoff game.
How long has he been a coach?
And they just gave him an
there?
extension, 13 years.
And he got, what, a 4-year extension?
Yes. So if you want to talk about leeches,
well,
he's definitely one of them.
In all honesty, I hate to say this, but Cincinnati, the ownership could be a heck of a lot better. The ownership, I think, likes mediocrity at this point.
So we've got to get back to Cleveland versus Pittsburgh. Cleveland has some good offensive weapons. You got Jarvis Landry that just came in. I think he can have a chance. You got Josh Gordon coming back. You've got new running back. You've got a pretty reliable backup quarterback if something does happen to Rod. But now let's look at the other sideline. You got Ben Roethlisberger.
Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell.
Well, hold on. You got Ben Roethlisberger, who
no Le'Veon Bell
during the preseason had a concussion. So already he's walking in with some durability issues at his age. He's not able to take the hits he used to, but he's still willing to, and that's a problem. That's going to be a health problem.
Well, he likes to be a tough guy, and he likes to take those types of hits, and it's definitely wearing on him at this point in his career.
And then you have Antonio Brown, last year 101 receptions, 1,533 yards with 9 touchdowns. So he's going to beast it out. I mean, let's hope the Madden curse doesn't affect him. But ladies and gentlemen, when I say the Madden curse, I need you to understand, it doesn't just have to affect the player. It can affect the team. Brady, last year, was on the Madden. I believe he fell into the Madden curse. They lost the Super Bowl. You lost Gronkowski. You lost Gronkowski for the Super Bowl. Malcolm Butler was not played. The Madden curse affected Brady and the Patriots. So just because it's Antonio Brown doesn't mean something else is going to happen. Like right now, something is happening. And that is the fact that, yes, they have Le'Veon Bell on their roster, but he will not be playing this Sunday because of why? He's holding out. Now, he does not have to report till the 8th week. Now, he is losing $855,000 a game.
He's basically losing about $10 million if he doesn't.
But he's trying to take a bet on himself. And with the Steelers organization, I understand what you're doing, Le'Veon, but you're not going to win it. I see them. No, I think you're not going to win overall. I think you're either going to be lowballed or you're going to hit free agency next year. I don't think that they're going to try to do a Gruden and trade him.
Well, they did have a meeting scheduled today, and guess who didn't show up?
It was for team practices. They thought he was going to come for team practices, and he did not show up.
But they did have a meeting, and he blew it off.
Yes. So James Conner will be playing for him at running back.
I still think he may show up before the first game. He won't play the first game, but he will show up. If he does show up, like say he shows up Saturday walkthrough or whatever, which is possible, the game's in Pittsburgh. Does he play? Probably not. But I think before the third game, Le'Veon Bell is back.
Well, we will see. We will see. We will see.
And primarily because I think they're kind of being forced into doing a contract. I mean, I know he wants a long-term contract, and he deserves a long-term contract. How much money is he going to get? Yeah, I mean, as far as with these guaranteed contracts that are coming out now, it's going to be interesting.
And the thing that makes him the most interesting with him is running backs are driven into the ground.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
it's
abused.
A cheap commodity.
They are abused, which is why you don't see a whole lot of them go first round anymore.
Exactly. So it's going to be interesting what happens for the rest of the season with the Steelers. If Le'Veon Bell is out, I'm not saying y'all are toast, but it is going to be a harder road traveled if Le'Veon sits out the first half of the season.
If Le'Veon Bell sits out the season, as Jeff Foxworthy says, you might just not be a wild card team, sir.
So, all right, Ferocious Phil. What's your prediction for the game?
I think this is going to be a pretty close game, and it very easily could be low scoring, but I'm going to go out on a limb here, say we're going to get some points up on the board. Tighter than people think. Let's go 31-35. Pittsburgh takes it at home.
I say 28-23. Pittsburgh at home.
I can just see I can see how Cleveland has the potential to put up some points now.
I do too.
But let's see how well oiled a machine they are after this week. This is going to be a wait and see on my part.
All right. Well, that's that game. Another interesting game to look at is the Oakland Raiders, soon to be the Las Vegas Raiders, against the Los Angeles Rams, former St. Louis Rams. So we got a former team against a going-to team.
Well, both of them have relocated multiple times.
Yes. Now, the reason why this game is magnificently intriguing is because we have a coach who has not won a game in 10 years. We have a coach who has not coached a game in 10 years. We have a coach who says he is the quarterback guru versus coach of the year, and that would be John Gruden versus Sean McVay.
And Sean McVay is a pretty good quarterback coach under his own right.
And this game takes place first Monday Night Football game on September the 10th in Oakland. Y'all Raider fans, go see it. This is going to be one of your last chances to go see some games. And
this will be the second of the 2 Monday night games.
Yes.
And it'll be a good one.
So it's going to be interesting, the fact that John Gruden is on Monday Night Football, the very first Monday Night Football of the season, just on the sideline instead of the booth.
Think that was set up?
Oh, I agree. I agree. He knew what was going on. Now, John Gruden, to me, is destroying what the Oakland Raiders were trying to do. They were trying to get young with some veteran talent for mentorship. But as we can see this past week, John Gruden wants his classics. He wants his people. He wants his more of a old school type generation players.
One thing you're forgetting: once a Raider, always a Raider. That's something that's come down from Al Davis, and it's throughout the entire front office of the Oakland Raiders. Once you're a Raider, you're always a Raider. You're always welcome back unless you just leave on really horrific terms.
You're right.
And Gruden is considered to be one of the real favorites of the Raiders. I mean, you got Chucky.
Now, this is what I mean by this. You've got the kicker. He's 36 years old. The linebacker, the defensive end, tackle, defensive back, another defensive back, wide receiver, running back, wide receiver. You have half of your team, and maybe not half, but a good fourth of your team are in their 30s. Some of your start. I mean, you got Dwayne Harris, he's 31. You got Marshawn Lynch, who was just beaten to the ground in Seattle. He's 32. Jordy Nelson, who was abused by Aaron Rodgers. And the reason why I say abused is some of these throws Aaron Rodgers put up that Jordy Nelson caught caused some major problems with Jordy Nelson. Jordy Nelson has missed some games in his career.
Oh, he's missed a lot of games in his career.
Exactly. So, you're looking at a 33-year-old broken Jordy Nelson. You're looking at a quarterback in Derek Carr who still has question marks.
I'm really curious why the Raiders would keep 2 kickers, though. I mean, do they really have that much luxury to carry 2 kickers? I'm assuming 1 for kickoffs and 1 for extra points. I mean, that makes 0 sense in the pro game. College, you can get away with that crap. NFL doesn't make any sense. And for that matter, Mike Nugent, really? You got a 36-year-old kicker? I mean, they got rid of Janikowski to get Nugent.
So as the Raiders' defense, to me, got worse with the trading of Mack, Los Angeles Rams, their defense got stout this offense. I mean, it's done very well this offseason. You add the fact that you've got a very happy Aaron Donald. So that's a very big benefit.
Well, that was a huge sign right before the season.
You've got Jared Goff, who I think has still got some in the tank to amaze people. I think he still has a chance to surprise some people on what he can do. But then you got Todd Gurley. I mean, their offense and their defense is just unbelievable. So, with that said...
Well, look at the young receiving core they got. I mean, their receiving core is pretty damn good. You got Cooper Kupp, you got Pharaoh Cooper, Brandon Cooks. Is he going to be able to? Will he be able to regain that magic? But even so,
you got Todd Gurley,
Robert Woods, Mike Thomas. Yeah, you got some really good players here that Goff has to throw to.
So I say it's going to be the Rams defense is going to stand up, and I think their offense is going to stand up, and I think John Gruden's going to get a very rude awakening. I say the Rams 35, Oakland Raiders 24.
You're giving them that much credit?
Yes, I just
okay. Raiders defense at this point.
Los Angeles looks scary, and the Oakland Raiders defense was already questionable before they got rid of Mack. I think Los Angeles runs roughshod on them, and I think Gruden has to look in the mirror and be like, "Whoa, what the hell am I doing to this team?"
I think as far as the Raiders go, the defense is now going to go into being Bruce Irwin's defense. I mean, he's going to have to step up and take that defense, make it his own. It's going to be really interesting to see. It'll be really interesting to see how the Raiders do. They have Carr. They got some. They do have some talent on the roster. You got Amari Cooper. Wide receiver. You got Jordy Nelson in there. Brandon LaFell. Let's go ahead and say, you said 31-24.
No, I said 35-24.
35-24. I think the Rams are way too strong for Oakland. I think it's going to be probably something more like 31-10.
Okay,
Rams.
I like that. I'll keep my score, but I'll take the under too.
You're taking what are you saying the under is 42 points, or are you saying it's more?
Well, no,
than 42?
I'm talking about what I am saying is I think the Oakland Raiders can get 24. But I'll take the under that they can't.
I think the Raiders defense fails them.
I kind of agree that the Rams defense just stuffs them. Like I said, Carr's still questionable. Marshawn Lynch is getting old.
Well, I think you see a defensive touchdown.
You got rid of Crabtree. Yes, you got Amari Cooper. I just don't see the weapons happening in Oakland. So you know what? I'm taking back mine. I am going to say 35 Los Angeles Rams, but I say they at least get into more double digits, and I'm going to say maybe 16, Oakland Raiders 16.
No, maybe. I think the Rams wind up getting a defensive touchdown. I think the Rams offense is designed to just be open and to destroy you. I mean, Sean McVay, don't hold back. Just go ahead and do it. As the Raiders say, just win, baby. Go for it, Sean. Do it.
All right, next game is I'm going to give this intro to you, sir.
So we have the Tennessee Titans coming into Miami to open up against the Dolphins, and it should be an interesting matchup. I'm a homer. I'm sticking with my team. I think Miami pulls out the home win. I think it's going to be tight, but I still think Miami pulls it out. I think Miami's vastly underrated this season. Let's go Miami 24, Tennessee 14.
What was that?
24-14, Miami.
24-14, Miami playing against Tennessee with the new coach, Mike Vrabel, who wasn't even a good defensive coordinator. With Marcus Mariota, and then you got a Tannehill coming back from knee. I'm going to go 21-14 Miami.
Take that. So, moving on, we are going to go ahead and move on to Jake.
All right. We got the Houston Texans at the Patriots. Bill Belichick versus one of his disciples, Bill O'Brien. Tom Brady versus future Tom Brady and Deshaun Watson.
Not even close on quarterback style.
No, but I do think he has a chance to chase the GOAT. Tom Brady has come out. Bill Belichick has come out. They've all come out and said Deshaun Watson has the same aspirations, same ethic, same work style that Tom Brady does. Now let's hope that he can stay away from people like Guerrero and those jokes of medical staff. But
I think there's a lot of quarterbacks that strive to be Tom Brady.
Well,
whether you actually achieve that, I think Deshaun Watson has the capability of being a great quarterback. I mean, the guy's smart. He's fast. Only thing I would say about him is he needs to work on his accuracy and getting the ball out of his hand.
Houston has a big chance to start off the year strong. I think they can do it. Last year, New England and Houston met. It was at New England again, but Houston only lost by 3 points. It was 33-36. The year before, it was 16-34. The year before that, it was 0-27. Year before that, 6-27.
But that was in Houston. Now,
yes,
you got to look at the last 3 years, though. Each year they've gone, they've improved.
Yes.
And Tom Brady is not getting any younger.
No, he's not. You have a healthy defense. You have a J.J. Watt. You have Whitney Merciless. You have a McKinney. You have a D.J. Reader. You've got Matthew in the back. You got Alvin Cook in the back. You got Davian Clowney. Hella good defense. You Edelman's out. So really the only target you really got is Gronkowski and Hogan. You got some running backs that'll work, but I think our front line can stuff that. Then you look at the other side of the ball. You've got Watson, Fuller, Hopkins, Miller, even Blue. Blue's a beast too. People forget about him. I think we're going to utilize more tight ends now with Jordan Aiken. I say Houston, Texas pull out the win. It is going to be a shootout. I believe it can be a shootout. So I'm going to say Houston 37, New England 35.
37-35.
Yes.
Okay, interesting. I think in a shootout, I think this is going to surprise a lot of people. I think Houston does have the capability, especially that they are healthy. And I think that's a big thing for Houston's success for this year. If they can stay healthy, yes, they have a good chance of getting to the second round of the playoffs, possibly further. Depends on how beat up they get. But a Houston Texans team going into New England, first game of the season, completely healthy. Let's go 41-38.
I like that.
Houston. I think it's going to be a shootout, but I think Houston has the defense. They may win by more than just a few points. Houston could actually beat them by 10 points in New England and hand New England a nasty way to start the season.
Yeah.
With a loss.
All right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go into another segment because we are running out of time. So we are going to go into the shootout round. First in the shootout round is Indianapolis versus Cincinnati in Indianapolis. I'm taking Indianapolis. Let's go 16-10.
Oh, wow. Indianapolis pulls it out 21-14. No, 21-17.
All right. Next, we have Washington Redskins going to the University of Phoenix Stadium in Arizona.
Arizona pulls that out. No, actually, I take that back. No, Washington is going to pull this game out. It's probably going to be like 24-10.
I say Washington pulls it out against Arizona 26-19. All right, next game we're going to is Dallas, Carolina. They are playing in Carolina. Dallas Cowboys are having a little bit of issue with wide receivers. Ezekiel Elliott's going to run it. I say he has 3. So I'm going to say this is maybe 24-26 Carolina because they're playing in Carolina.
Because they're playing in Carolina, let's try 35-21.
You think it's a high-scoring game?
I think Carolina takes this. I think that Carolina takes them to the woodshed, yeah.
All right. Next game is going to be Seattle going to Mile High Stadium against the Denver Broncos. Seattle does not have the defense they used to. The Broncos still have Von Miller, but they have Case Keenum. I'm hoping Case Keenum can show up. I do not see this as a high-scoring game because the offenses are broken. The defenses are broken. I think the teams are just in trouble right now. I'm going to call this a 14-17 Denver.
I'm thinking like 14-10 Denver. I don't know that Seattle has the offensive power they used to have, and I think Denver's just a mess. Looking for a place to happen right now.
They both need to be looked at, and they've got some players they've got to get released and all that. All right, next game, we have the San Francisco 49ers going up against the Minnesota Vikings. Now, this is very interesting on the two facts that you got Garoppolo, who ended the season 5-0 against Mr. Kirk Cousins, who helped get Aaron Rodgers the money he got because he got $60 million guaranteed. I'm going to take, because it is Minnesota and their defense is a lot better than what they're giving credit for, I'm going to say 31-24 Minnesota.
I can see a score similar to that. I think you also got Kirk Cousins, who was he was being projected to go to San Francisco before they got Garoppolo. Anyway, Minnesota playing at home, 34-31.
All right.
Minnesota.
All right, so we both have Minnesota.
Yeah.
All right, so next we go. Tampa Bay goes into New Orleans. New Orleans, I mean, it's Drew Brees against Ryan Fitzpatrick. You got Kamara. He's a beast of a running back. So actually, I'm going to say Saints 31, Tampa Bay 14.
27-10, New Orleans. Tampa Bay's not going to compete with New Orleans, I don't think.
No. All right, next we have Buffalo Bills going up to M&T Bank Stadium and playing the Baltimore Ravens. Joe Flacco's on the hot seat. He is still playing, but he is on the hot seat. Buffalo Bills, you got LaShawn McCoy, but now you got Peterman as your quarterback. This is going to be a very low-scoring game. I say 13-9, and I'm going to give it to Baltimore. I do not think Flacco's a good quarterback. I don't think he's going to be taken out. It's just going to be a low-scoring game.
I think it's going to be a tough game for Buffalo, and Baltimore does have a great defense, but I think Buffalo pulls the upset here. It's not going to be a high-scoring game. This is going to be like a 17-10, 17-14 type game. It's going to be a beatdown.
All right, next we have Kansas City going to L.A., or as we called it earlier, San Diego. The Chargers, I've always liked the Chargers. Like I said earlier, I like Phillip Rivers. It is the first game of the season, so people are healthy. Well, except their tight end, but now they got a 38-year-old Antonio Gates back. So you do have that threat. You got Melvin Gordon, but it is Kansas City. Mahomes, you've got Hunt, you've got Kelsey. I say Kansas City ends up pulling this out. I say 21-16.
It's going to be a tough game. LA improved their defense. I mean, you got Bosa, then they got their rookie. You got Mahomes coming out. You got Tyreek Hill in a close game. And I think I'm going to go with the Chargers here. They're healthy. They're playing at home. Tight game. And I think it could be a shootout, but let's go 27-24, and I'm taking Chargers in an upset.
All right, last game is New York Jets are going to Detroit. New York, their rookie quarterback will be starting. Sam Darnold has been named the starter for Week 1. You got Detroit Lions, who's being coached by Matt Patricia in his first year of head coaching. They are playing in Detroit. Detroit does have Stafford. It's got Marvin Jones. It does have some weapons. Jets are still, somewhat of an uncertainty. All because this is in Detroit, and Matthew Stafford does have a little bit more of weapons this year. And then you got a new head coach who's great at defense. I'm actually going to say Detroit is over New York Jets. Score 23-17.
This game's fugly.
That could be 23-10 because of Matt Patricia. So
I think Stafford is the difference here. I mean, you got the only team in the NFL starting a rookie quarterback this year, or at least one that was drafted in this rookie class, Darnold. And you're throwing them to the Wolves. Rookie quarterbacks in their first games do not generally do very good. And I mean, all-time series, Detroit leads 7-6. Let's go ahead and make it 8-6. Detroit in a just ugly friggin' game, 24-10.
All right, all right. So before we bounce out of this, and before we say goodbye to the E4 Mafia, I would like to go over our fantasy league, and I am going to be playing one of our friends, Mrs. McGiblets. ESPN is projecting me to lose by 7 points. I believe I come out and I kick her ass.
And the bass keeps running.
So with that being said, Miss McGiblets, I hope you like eating my dust, because we are in 2 leagues together and I'm going to beat you in both. With that said, we thank you for listening. This is E4 Sports, and we will be recapping these games that we called, plus calling the new games. Let's hope nothing else controversial happens, so that we don't have to spend an additional 20 minutes next week talking about the shit. So on behalf of Ferocious Phil, I am the good old Jrei. Hooah!